In the CargoCast podcast. I'm your host, Cargo Capital, with your co-host, Brave Transport. And in a second, we will have our co-host, BCMC Logistics, come in. Welcome to CargoCast podcast. We have these lives 3 Fridays out of the month. We always have an individual co-host live where we just kind of talk around the table. We have a special guest to bring some resources and knowledge. And then we have open mic, which is going to be next week. And we either have people that come up pre-tense because they requested to, or we have it on the fly. So just remember, if you want to come up next week, you got to have at least 6 months or more of experience in the logistics industry to qualify to come up on the panel. 3 Fridays out of the month, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, if you're in the Midwest, the West Coast, convert it to your time frame. Now, with that being said, we have a special guest right here. Thanks to my co-host, BCMC, for the recommendation to bring her up. I had a conversation with her off of here. I cannot wait for her to bring the resources, the knowledge, and just her overall experience. She is in the insurance field. So everybody take notes. Everybody that is new. Everybody that needs to know how commercial insurance works, because that is a requirement to have as a cargo van owner-operator. It's one of the things that you need to have as compliance wise, really, with that, whether that is getting into the carrier lanes, whether that is getting on some apps, load boards, brokers, etc. You must have this. This is a requirement. So, that being said, we have an insurance agent right here that is going to tell you how it works, the ins and outs, and pretty much all the gray areas that is going to factor in what you're going to be paying overall. With that being said,
and really
go ahead,
let
Bray.
me interject before you give me the floor.
Right.
To the viewers that are in here, so we come on Fridays and we try to give as much information as possible. We get a lot of questions in regards to insurance, so the team searched high and low to find somebody that was willing to come on the podcast just to specifically shed some light on the insurance industry requirements and the specifics of it. So please do us a favor and share the live out to people in the industry, so that way they can get their questions answered tonight. It's a free platform that we put on for you guys. And this one, it's been a long time coming because we always get questions about insurance. We're not insurance agents. That's not our specialty. So we finally found somebody that was able. BCMC found somebody willing to come on and share their knowledge of the field, answer some questions for you guys, and you guys can hear it from the expert themselves. So please share it out, get people in here so that way they can ask those questions that they've been looking for those answers.
I think that was well said. Thank you for adding that, because, if it wasn't for my guy, BCMC Logistics, I don't know where the podcast would be without him. Trying to get him in here. I don't know what's going on. I'll try one more time. I sent another invite. I know he was in here. I know sometimes he has technical difficulties on his end coming up. As we're doing that, I guess I'll introduce you. We have an insurance agent up here, and she has lots and lots of knowledge. Like I was saying, take notes if you're new. Even if you're experienced, hey, maybe this can apply to you because maybe you're overpaying and you don't realize it. You can save some money and pocket more of that for your business. With that being said, introducing Jennifer. Let me unmute your mic for you. All right. Can you hear us, Jennifer? Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Sweet.
I am here.
That check 1, 2. Got it. Awesome.
Yes.
Sweet. How are you doing today, Jennifer?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on. I've been in this, I'm telling my age, I've been in this insurance industry for about since the 90s. I got licensed in the late 90s, and I've I've done many facets in the insurance industry. I was a claims adjuster for 14 years. I handled bodily injury, litigated files, large losses in the claims department. That kind of wore me down. And I went back over to the sales side of the insurance industry. And for the past 10 years, I have been working in transportation, and I am a transportation specialist at this time. So this is what I do. I go really hard for my customers. Like, I comb the market because the market really isn't kind to you all. The prices have gotten really ridiculous. No, it's not. The prices have gotten extremely ridiculous. And so my job, if there is a lower price out there, I'm going to find it. And I'm licensed. I'm not a captive agent. I'm an independent agent. So I write with a lot of carriers, and I do. But of course, I'm in North Carolina. I'm licensed in North Carolina. I do have access to other states, but it's limited. If I felt like there was a need for me to be licensed in another state, of course I would do that. But my specialty is North Carolina. And like I said, I've been doing this transportation industry. I handle a lot of FMCSA work for my customers. I set up authorities. I do BOC3s. I do it all, really. And what I don't know, I find out because nobody knows everything.
I love that. Yeah. Yo, now that BCMC is here, thank you so much for bringing this gal up here, Jennifer.
Hi, Brian.
Much love, man. Much appreciated.
What's up, Jennifer? Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you.
I was Brian's former agent before he left me. I took care of him.
She took good care of me when we first.
I did. I took good care of him. We were good friends. Yeah.
That's it. When I had a car hole, I was in the car hauling industry.
Okay.
And that's who I started dealing with from day one. And when I transitioned over to the Sprinter van, she's been right there with me along the way. You know what I mean? Until my wife kind of took over.
Got you. That makes sense.
Oh, okay. So I lost you to another woman. Okay.
Oh, shots.
Yeah. But Jennifer knows her stuff, man. We learned a lot about this industry together because it was new to both of us.
It was. I was learning when he became my client. I was learning, and like I said, I'm not an agent. Like, I'm not ashamed to tell you, I don't know, but let me call around, let me find out. And as all of you know, or should know at this time, the FMCSA has changed their platform, and it is a nightmare.
I was just going to ask you, you're about to get into it. I was just going to, something happened to me today, and I think you're about to answer the question without me even having to ask. Go right ahead. I would love for you to deep dive into this.
No, it is a nightmare. They changed to a system called MOTUS.
Yes.
And MOTUS, and it's literally MOTUS and then DOT.gov. That's the website. This company snapshot where we're used to typing in our DOT numbers and being able to go out and see the SMS profile, your inspections, and all that stuff that helped me to underwrite policies. They have done away with it. And trust me, I've been on the phone like every day with the FMCSA because there are policies that I've written, their filings aren't up. It's a real nightmare right now. It really is, especially for anyone new that's needing the filings at this time.
I get into that because my agent today, because I recently just got my DOT, and he came back to me. He's like, dude, I got bad news for you. I was like, what's wrong? At first, I think at this point, I was going to be surprised about premium. I'm like, listen, man, at this point, my premium is going up. I can care less at this point. He's like, no, it's not that. I'm like, what is it? He's like, anybody, it was anybody that's new, compliance-wise, right? I guess if you got a new any new DOT carriers for May 14th.
Yeah.
This is okay, so he wasn't wrong. He said, dude, there's nothing I can do. This is happening to every single insurance company, and until the FMCSA straightens it out, I can't proceed with your putting your insurance on your DOT. And I wasn't even mad. I'm like, well, he was mad, And he laughed because he knows how I am. He's like, I know you're not mad. I'm like, dude, I've been in this over 3 years. Like, it's okay. It's really okay. He's like, dude, I love your mission. Like, I want to see you grow, man. It makes me so angry how nobody can give me answers here, and I'm just trying to help you. And I was like, no, I appreciate that. I definitely do. So yeah, I guess if you know, like, I guess to elaborate what I'm saying, what, like, do you know the reason why they did that? Like, I guess.
Well, the system is not a smooth transition.
Right.
And I literally just talked to them about it in the 6 o'clock hour. It's not they're ironing. These are called growing pains. They're ironing out the kinks with the new database, and the filings are all, I mean, I'm telling you, the filings are, I don't know if they're getting lost. Like today I had to make 2 calls. I spoke with them, the FMCSA representatives, twice today. And you all know it's not easy getting it. Like when you call them, you always click call me back. They call me back like in an hour today. Like it's taking hours or hours.
Same with my agent.
Minutes.
Same with my agent. He was so fed up. He's like, they are a pain in the ass.
It is very frustrating. And this afternoon in the 6 o'clock hour, they were down. The MC, the motor carrier database was completely down. Her only advice was to call back on Monday. So the thing of it is the key is having an agent that cares, because there are so many agents out there that'll sell you a policy and be like, look, we've done what we could do.
Wow.
They don't get in the trenches with you. I just opened my own agency because like I said, I've been in this transportation industry for 10 years, but I recently decided to go under my own umbrella. I've always been under the umbrella of a primary agent. So I was a producer. Well, now I am the agent / producer in my agency. I started in January, and
congratulations. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's lovely working for myself.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And I really do get in the trenches with my customers. Like, I'm not leaving them out there, because my motto is, if they don't make money, I don't make money.
I don't make money.
So I have to care about what's happening. So I have literally been on the phone with the FMCSA I'm a hornet. I've been on the phone every day this week, calling on certain problems, persistent to get problems fixed. And, like I started out with 3, now I'm down to 1, like getting the filing straight and getting them authorized. Because if you're not authorized for property, you're dead in the water. A broker will look at your FMCSA and be like, you're not active, and you're not going to get loads, and that affects the bottom line. And my tagline for my business is, I'm going to keep your wheels turning and earning, because we definitely want you guys to make money. We want you to make money, but right now it is a problem, and it is the FMCSA. But we do what we can, and we're like, I keep my foot on their neck. I'm constantly calling, but it is a problem. So for those of you out there that have experienced some issues or know someone that they're saying that this will be ironed out in the next few weeks, but these are the growing pains of the new system. Good.
That's
what I was told.
I'm glad you told me that. So, like, based on, because you would have corrected me if I was wrong on what he said. I know right away. And you said, no, I want you to, because I'm like, if I'm wrong, please tell me if my insurance. But it seemed like when you shook your head, you're like, no, he is absolutely right.
Oh yeah, he's dead on. And all
May
the
14th. Yeah. It's like it's like any new carrier before May 14th, they're just putting on lock or something like that. Yeah.
I was feeling like the filings were getting lost in the sauce, because you go onto the Modus website and you see it says pending, and that's all it says. And even like one of my companies, they have the filings listed. So why is it still pending? And according to them, the system was down this afternoon. So when you're dealing with situations like that, that's gonna hold you guys up. It's gonna affect the bottom line.
Signing on with carriers, apps, companies, like, because they require those things, and like when they look in, they're like, oh well, we don't see any insurance under there, and it's like, well, that's because the system's down. It's out of our control. So it's like there's nothing you can do beyond that.
Exactly. So, and I will say this though, because our business, this line of business, it's a mandatory thing. You have to have the the filings. You have to have the state filings, whatever state you're in. You got to have and the state filings don't seem to be affected, but it's the federal filings. So, and it's a lot of things. I was trying to set up an authority. I help people to get their DOT and MC. I've always done that. Now, I went on to start an application today. You used to be able to get it in one day. They literally said, I did the name, the address, the EIN number, all of the vital information on the company, right? With the representative, everything. They say, now they want the EIN letter that the tax people send you when you get your EIN number, your tax ID number. So they want that letter to be downloaded into their database. I downloaded the letter into their database, and they said your application has went into a manual queue to be reviewed. We will get back with you. So you can no longer get your DOT same day. As of today. Now things are changing because they're realizing that they screwed up with this system because I got
a few days ago. Thank God.
Absolutely.
I got mine same day. Thank God.
Right. So everybody else did it before the May date that when they transitioned the systems over to the new system modus. So with that being said, I called them. That was my first call this morning. I was like, wait a minute. I said, this is new. I'm trying to help someone get their DOT/MC. And she says, well, if it's in a manual queue, it could take up to 2 weeks for them to get back with us for me to be able to complete the application. That it's a mess right now.
So what do you think is impacting this or driving this change? I feel like it could have. Are they putting new authorities on hold? Do you think it has anything to do with the excessive fraud in the industry? So now they're trying to mitigate that by putting a queue together?
No, not due to excessive fraud. It's because they've switched over to a new system. And with that Modus system, it's a lot of kinks there. Now, granted, it is a lot of fraud in this transportation industry. My customers call me, say, hey, I just got this letter. And I look at it, I'm like, this is not from the FMCSA. This is from somebody else. So and I always call the FMCSA to verify, but for the most part, that's not the specific reason. The reason is because of the software of the system. They're trying to iron out. I don't think they forecast this many problems when they bought this new system. I don't think, and no offense to anyone out there, but the new administration has brought on a lot of rules and regulations that are regulating this. And this is the government now. They're regulating this like crazy. Like when I went on to do the DOT, I had to scan my driver's license front and back. I had to do a facial recognition scan. Like they're tightening up on security and the identification of people that enter into this industry. They want to make sure you are a United States citizen. That's really, really big. So the vice is steadily tightening, and that's the reason. It's the rules and regulations of the new administration that we currently have. And it's only going to get tighter. The vice is going to get tighter and tighter.
So it's just going to get tighter and tighter, basically. It's just that's what you're saying. Because I know it started sometime in March, the whole situation with that, but you're saying it's not going to plateau. If that makes sense. They're trying to perfect it. They're trying to make things better. But I think I think they have to iron out the productivity of this system, because like I said, one of my customers today, I wrote his policy. I want to say it was May the 20th. And I do believe May the 19th was the day they switched everything over. So I wrote his policy on May the 20th. He's still not authorized. And this is June the 12th. And I call them. I've been calling them every day this week. So I just think that the FMCSA, they've got some kinks to work. And like I said, this afternoon, when I called again, because I'm keeping my foot on their neck, the system was down. And the only thing she could tell me was, you got to call back Monday morning. It's very frustrating. It's frustrating for the whole entire industry. It really is. My agent said the same thing. He was he tried to talk to the lady on the phone today. He was telling me on the phone, he was He was like, so, because I asked the question, I'm like, well, when do you think this is going to be done? When do you think this is going to be subsided? He's like, honestly, man, like she did not give me a straightforward answer at all.
They're
no
not
answer.
Any the one I had 2 reps to tell me this should be ironed out in 2 weeks, but I have no faith.
That's probably a ballpark guess.
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't really know. They just don't know. And then I asked them, like, because, company, like the snapshot page that we're all used to, that the brokers use to check your active authority, they're no longer updating you go into the SMS profiles, that system's not being updated anymore. And I've had a few reps from the FMCSA to tell me that they're not updating it. But then today, when I called earlier this morning, one of the reps did say it looked like it was updated on the 11th. I'm like, okay, like, cause I don't think they know, cause you're getting different answers from everybody you call. You're never going to get the same person when you call in,
right?
The customer service rep. So you're getting different answers from different people. So I don't even think they know and they're the workers. They work for the FMCSA. So
don't take no answer serious at this point.
Get ready for the ride. I think transportation is changing, as we know.
The ride is crazy. The ride is wild.
Yes.
Well, okay. So speaking of change, are there any emerging risks that transportation businesses should be paying attention to right now?
When you say emerging risk, do you mean what? Can you break it down for me?
Like, is there anything that you're seeing on your end as far as I don't know, maybe like claims or changes in the industry or changes in the insurance side? Are there any risks that are coming about that business owners should be aware of, especially when they're shopping around for insurance?
Well, the one thing I recommend everyone to do is, transportation, though it's a big industry, it's a huge, the premiums are really big. Shop your account out. Make sure you have a good agent that's going to be an excellent representative of you. Like, they have access to X amount of carriers. Like, I have access to an array of carriers. Every carrier had their own underlying guidelines, but as far as anything new, I can tell you that insurance is just going up. We just had it last year in 2025, April the 1st of 2025, we had a 32% rate increase. I've never, in all my years of working in this industry, I've never seen a 32% increase in premium, but that really did happen last year. This year, April the 1st, there was another increase in premium. That was a small one. It was a tiny one. It was tiny. Like, somebody's premium might have went up from $7,800 to $8,110. It was a tiny change, but every year the premium is steadily going up and up. So it's important that you have an agent that's willing to put forth the effort to not just collect your premium, telling you to pay your premium, make sure you make your down payment, to shop your account out, because that is the only way that you're going to stay up and up with the industry, to make sure you're not getting robbed. You can't have a lazy agent that just tells you to renew your policy. You always want them each year when it's up for your renewal. You always want them to shop your account out. That's very important, because I've come across customers that had lazy agents that, like, the customer might have been with Progressive, because that's like one of the number one companies, right? And Progressive will send you a renewal. You ain't even got to go through your agent to renew. All you do is pay Progressive and it automatically renews. And Progressive does their own certificates. I had an agent, he hadn't checked his customer. Progressive is not a good market for people that have accidents. If you got one accident you need to get up out of there, because Progressive is going to do you dirty. They're going to charge you. I've seen a premium go up. Kid you not, my hand to the Lord, $8,000. It increased, and an $8,000 increase in premium for a parking lot accident that the customer didn't even claim. He paid it out of pocket. Progressive didn't pay $1, but because he had that at-fault accident on his MVR, when the underwriters ran that MVR, that year for calculating his renewal, his premium went all the way up. Now, those are the accounts I love to get to quote, because I quote out. I am constantly. I have my binoculars out every day looking for my customers for the cheapest price. And unfortunately, it's called the lesser of several evils. It's all evil. The price is just up. That's the trend right now. Prices are just going up. I even asked the underwriters, are they ever going to go down? Like, how can these guys afford to feed? This is how they feed their families. And they got, the insurance is your overhead. If you're in transportation, this is your overhead, the upkeep of the vehicle and the insurance. And that's the bottom line. So that's why it's important to not have a lazy agent that's not willing to shop your account out every year. You got to have that every year. I hope I answered your question. I know I went on. I rambled.
Yeah. First of all, where were you when I renewed?
Right?
Hey, hey, look, y'all supposed to holler at your boy. You supposed to holler at your boy. I have
He got the plugs, the connections.
No one said,
BCMC
kept anything to me.
BCMC kept you in his pocket.
Well, I just started my own agency, so now I'm doing this for myself. So there's a even bigger incentive for me to make sure I walk that thin line and never mess up.
Yeah,
but the great thing about it though, Liz, Brave, she, when I met her, my partner, he had an agency, and we went to high school together, and she was within that agency, but she was so thorough and just trusting and just gung ho about making everybody happy, and you could see that she grew that business. She put that business on her back. You
gotta put Brian on your marketing team.
I know, Brian. You talking about William?
Yeah, I'm talking
that was
about
your partner. Okay,
yes.
I didn't know that y'all went to school together.
We went to school together. Yeah.
Okay, yep. I didn't know that. Fun fact, learning.
Yeah. Because so my insurance ended up it went up a lot. And when I asked my agent, what was the driving factor? Because nothing changed between last year and this year. No accidents.
No accidents.
Nothing changed. But my insurance payment went from $880 a month to $1350 a month. And when I asked him what the change was, he just said, "Oh, California had premium hikes."
Now, California is crazy with their rates. What are you paying? How many units do you have?
I just have one.
How many? What are you paying for the liability of your unit, if you don't mind me asking, for the year?
I'd have to look at my.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, that paper, because I don't know off the top of my head, but it went up, and all he could tell me was like, "Oh, California just had premium hikes." So then I'm asking him like, "Okay, well, are there any discounts, like good driver discounts? Like if I get cameras in the van, do you give discounts for that? Like loyal customers, like some kind of discount?" He's like, "Oh no, Progressive doesn't offer discounts." So then I started getting emails from Progressive basically saying if I put an ELD in my van, they'll discount me.
The company's the snapshot discount, yes. And that can be a significant discount. It ranges from 1 or 2, I think it's 2% to like 20%. It could range that depending on the information that they gather. Because now the ELDs are a little bit, I don't want to call them dangerous, but I will tell you an experience I had. I had a customer and I was trying to get him with a company called Nirvana. I don't know if anybody is familiar with Nirvana.
I just know they're a rock band, but please elaborate.
It's also an insurance carrier.
Yeah.
Nirvana. And I was trying to get him with Nirvana, and they were like, "Oh, does he have an ELD? Because we offer like an 11% discount." So I'm like, "Yeah, come on now, because I want if it's a cheaper price out there, I want to be the savior. I want to be the one to present it." And I guess they logged into his ELD and got his report. And then next thing I know, they sent, like a few days later, they sent me a decline letter, a decline email, because they said that he was braking too hard. And that's not the type of risk. Now, mind you, this guy has been driving for years. No accidents, no tickets, clean record. But because his ELD, I guess, I don't know what he's doing in that truck, but he's doing something, because the ELD told the story and they were like, "We can't, he's a risky driver because of that." Yeah. So the ELDs, they're nice to get that discount, but you can best
they're not nice to you though.
Right. The company has somebody that they've hired and they're sitting there with the magnifying glass looking for a reason, just looking for a reason. And that's the type of things. I mean, this is a catch-22, guys. The world
sounds about right.
the world ain't gonna be kind to you. If you're in logistics and you're a CDL, they're not gonna be nice because every accident is gonna be your fault. They're gonna look for fault. I just had a customer to have an accident, and he said that he was traveling in his lane and he saw the car with the sign "student driver" on the car. And he was like, I knew it was going to be something, but he goes, I was just staying in my lane. I slowed up my speed. Sure enough, that boy drifted over into his lane and hit his car. The officer wrote my driver a ticket and said that he drifted in his lane. And when you got a word versus word type scenario, like his cameras in his truck wasn't working, so it didn't capture the accident. That's another thing I want to tell you, how important it is for logistic owners to have those drive cams in their car, because this particular accident, this guy, he's been driving for 30 years. He's an older gentleman. He's never had any accidents, safe driver. I was able to get him a really good rate this year. And he says, I've never had anything like this happen to me. But they put that accident on this guy. And had he had the cameras working, operable in his unit, he would have been able to save face, show the officer, you see, I'm in my lane. He drifted over into my lane. And we know the student driver, they're always the one at fault for the accident. But This is going to follow him for the next 3 years. He's going to eat this for the next 3 years if he can't get this expunged from his record. So the drive cams are most important for you all because it can eliminate any accidental accusations as a logistics business owner. I highly recommend that as well.
How much does it lower your premium, would you say?
It doesn't lower your premium. You don't get a discount for adding them. This is for your own protection out there on the road.
Fair enough.
It raises it, because Progressive will charge you like, I think, an additional $80 a month
for cameras.
You're already paying. No, for the ELD.
Oh,
for the ELD, that's what they.
Yeah. Because they say if you put the ELD in your van, they'll give you a discount on the insurance, but you still have to pay the subscription for the ELD. So I'm like, well, that
catch 22, like she said.
It's really not a discount.
Yeah.
Discount my ass.
It's you getting the commission for selling a service.
Yeah.
Right.
Life isn't fair to you guys.
Yeah.
And it's a separate, you notice it's a separate person that calls outside of Progressive about this program.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, Progressive, but they're working as a team though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a question here that says, is it true that proving you have safety protocols in your SOP may lower your premiums?
Say that one more time. I didn't quite hear you.
It says, is it true that proving you have safety protocols in your SOP may lower your premiums?
It depends on the companies you're with. Like the ELD, like Progressive offers that discount, but I have companies that don't give a damn if you have a ELD or ABCDE. They don't care what you have in the vehicle. It just depends on the company. All companies have different underwriting rules and requirements. So if, like, I have some companies that'll offer a fleet discount, then the majority of them won't. It just depends on the companies that you're inquiring about.
Got you.
And starting out as a owner operator that gets their DOT, I suggest that you have an agent, to be honest with you, because that way you can make sure you got your BOC3, all your paperwork in line, and you're not being overcharged. Because you have people that overcharge you for these documents. So, but having an agent, they're looking for the long-term relationship as well.
Absolutely.
And that's why Jennifer and I, we ran for so long until we had a grasp of it. But I mean, it wasn't overnight. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And then too, another thing, you have to just you got to look out, you got to have an agent that's a transportation specialist, not just, Allstate, State Farm agent that can write a couple of commercial accounts. You got to have an agent that understands the importance of a COI. That's the lifeline of any trucker or any transportation person. You got to have an agent that knows the business. Because if you can call the Progressive, go to progressive.com and get your policy quoted. But when you're calling in, you're not talking to agents, you're talking to customer service representatives. Like I have a quote right now, just right here next to me. Is a former customer I had, but he's coming back around because I left the agency of where I worked. And he's coming back to see if he could write with me under my agency. And he said, and you don't know people do this, but they do. He says, I said, well, I quoted you with Progressive. I quoted with National General. I contacted a few brokers just to kind of see Incline, Stonewood, just to kind of throw out some carriers that I had quoted his account with. And he was like, well, the Progressive quote that I quoted him, it was like $900 more. So he was like, well, how come your quote is higher? I said, higher, what do you mean? He says, I called Progressive myself and got the quote. I said, well, send me the quote that progressive.com quoted you, because if there's a cheaper price out there, I want to be the one to offer it to you. That's my tagline. I tell everybody that. So he sent me the quote. That customer service rep, he told her he ran for Amazon. Amazon have mandatory requirements. General liability, you got to have it. Cargo, motor truck cargo, you got to have it, which is a standard. Everybody got to have that. And the commercial auto liability, you have to have it. But the GL it's not a prerequisite for loads. You guys can get contracts without having the general liability on the policy. But Amazon, you can't. I called him. I said, well, your quote doesn't have general liability and it doesn't have any state filings. So with that being said, he called into Progressive. She just quoted him and he was like, it's very disappointing when you tell people what you need and this is what they give you. But I told him, I said but that's the importance of having a transportation agent that understands the business and won't sell you no BS. They're going to give you exactly what you need, because we're more interested in building those long-term relationships.
Tell you what, you said the COI.
Amen.
Shoot.
That's right.
You said the COI part made me laugh, because I'm like, every time I get on with a new company or something like that, I text him. I said, hey, I just got on with this company. You know what to do. He emails me right away. I got the COI ready for you. I said, that's my man.
Yeah. And I've just purchased it's something called the insurance app, whereas I'm actually in the database now. I'm getting set up. I just did this last week, whereas my customers will have the capability of doing their own COIs. They'll have an app with my logo on their phones where they can go in and pay their premium. They can go in and request changes if they need to. I'm old school though. I like for my customers to reach out to me directly, but in the event, I'm getting married in July, for example, I'm a new business owner. I got to take my laptop.
Love it.
You. I have to take my laptop. I have to take my laptop on my honeymoon, because I can't leave my customers. I'm going on a 10-day honeymoon. So I decided to get with this company that's going to allow my customers to click on the app to do basic certificates. Though, because I'm taking my laptop, I will be available, but I may not be available at the very moment, because some customers will say, hey, I just got this load and I'm going to, I need it right now. That's what that type of service is for. So it's also important to get with an agent that has that level of customer service as well. So that's important.
Okay. So I had a question. So this past winter, I was seeing specifically cargo vans slipping and sliding and crashing all over the road. So when a serious accident happens, what should owner-operators, or just operators in general, what should they do within the first 24 hours?
Well, immediately when the accident occurs, you want to, make sure everybody is okay, because I always tell my customers, show some care and concern at the scene. You don't want to be like, I ain't talking to nobody, because we live in a very litigious society. Though we know what they're going to do anyways, you still want to give it a ditch effort and be kind. I also say, pull out your phones. Any conversation, you can call 911. That is fine. Get the police on dial. Once you make that call, get your phone and start recording any conversation that you may have with the other driver or any witnesses that you may have, because like the accident I was telling you about with my safe driver, with the student driver, he didn't do that. And I specifically told him, because he called me from the scene, I said, get the camera out, and you don't have to let people know you're recording, but you need to put your video on to record any conversations, because people will have a different scenario of what, if everybody's okay. Once you did your care and concern for people's safety at the scene, then you want to get ample pictures. You want to get scene photos. You want to get as much footage as you can, especially if it's questionable liability. So that's most important. Then after the police is called, you've, took the pictures, take pictures of license plates, because in case people give you fictitious information, you want to be able to have your insurance company to run the plates to make sure that the information that the claimant may or may not have given you, it matches up to what is on the insurance on the vehicle. And the recording the conversation is very important, because people will have one conversation at the scene, and then by the time they get home, their neck is stiffening. They in the hospital. They go to the ER that night. They go in, and then they talk to their insurance company. It's a completely different story. They didn't said something different. So you want to make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's by getting information that's going to help you. Not to be selfish or anything, but once you've checked, make sure everybody's okay, and you assisted to make sure everybody's moved to safety, then you need to start recording everything and taking pictures of everything, including the scene. The scene photos is pictures of the street that the incident occurred on. Those things are very important in the event of questionable liability, because one accident can cause your rates to go up extremely high for 3 years. That the insurance companies aren't forgiving to my logistic business owners. So I always recommend taking everything, every little piece of footage you can take. You want to have your phone on, if you ain't doing nothing but just holding it in your hand to pick up the audio. That's very necessary.
So in the event that you are loaded and you get into an accident with your load and all that, what does that look like as far as like the claim goes?
Well, I'll tell you, I had a truck that overturned a few months ago. I think it was October of last year. And he had some melted little metal balls in his truck. Real cheap material that's melted down to make art. And the truck laid over, so all of this stuff spilled all over everything. It was it actually was a nightmare claim. It really was, and for my customer as well. But at the scene, when his truck flipped, all of his paperwork, the bill of lading, that flew out the truck. We weren't able to locate that. The cargo company went crazy. I don't understand not having but one copy, but that's another story. But like I said, this was a nightmare claim.
So he didn't have photos of the bill of lading?
He did not. He did not. Everybody's not responsible. I deal with some very irresponsible
no
truck
PDF
drivers,
that he could have just reprinted. Like, it's just because half the time.
I don't know. The bill of lading he said it. Everything went out the truck. His cell phone, everything. Because the truck laid over.
Cell phone went out. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's lucky to be alive.
Oh, well.
And he intersected with a Swift truck. A Swift truck made a left turn in front of him, and he wasn't able to slow his speed and safety. And so he laid the truck down. He made that split decision. So at that scene of that accident, of course, he had a deep gash in his hand. So he was transported to the hospital via ambulance. So it really wasn't a lot that he could get, but the owners of the truck reported to the scene, and they were able to get pictures and pick up what they could on the ground. And, like the tow truck driver did the cleanup and everything, because it's not a lot you can do when you have a load and stuff is all, you got to wait for the cleanup people to come, and the state sends, if it's a hazardous load, the state's got to send special people out there to clean up. Now the tow truck company, they're crooks. They should be locked up in jail, if you ask me, because I think that towing bill for that accident, they cleaned up. They did all of the cleanup. So the customer went to the driver went to the hospital. The owners were there, reported to the scene immediately, talking with the police officers. But it's really not a lot you can do at the scene other than communicate effectively with all parties, get your camera out. Like I said, record all conversations, because once the insurance company gets involved, they're going to do their recorded statements and investigations, and they're going to determine, the liability. And with this particular claim, I'm telling you, it should look different for logistic business owners, because the claims go so deeper than just, oh, he made a left turn in front of him, so it's his fault. They ended up denying that claim, even though this Swift truck turned left in front of my driver, and they did hit, they collided. So it was a collision. So they did touch. So it was an impact there, but my driver was able to move out the way before it was a full on impact. So long story short, that claim, it was the cargo claim ended up being like $40K. The tow truck claim is what got me. I think that tow truck, the whole everything, cleaning up everything, the streets, and the cleanup was a big part of it. That tow truck bill was like $123,000. Like, so sometimes in this industry, you guys don't have a lot of protection. So there isn't a lot you can do, but you do what you can and then you take the pictures like you're supposed to. You record the conversations, and then you make sure the officer gives you a exchange form with the contact information of the other insurance company on the phone, because people will be quick to file a claim under your insurance and won't even call theirs. I've experienced that before. So you make sure you get everybody's information at the scene. As far, like, you're not responsible for cleanup, the state is. They'll send someone to do all of that. So I hope that answered your question. I know I went on a tangent.
No, we love it. We love tangents. The more information, the better. You have covered compliance. You've covered, just basic compliance issues that are, well, not compliance issues, I'm sorry. You've covered FMCSA issues that are going on right now. And thank you for confirming with me, about my agent. Like, what he said is 100% accurate about what's going on. And that's why a lot of people can't proceed, because when the insurance people, like you, my agent, are trying to put the insurance on like a DOT, they can't, because of the FMC. Like, they literally can't. So, thank you for for confirming that. And also any situations you have with accidents. Now, let's talk about for newbies here that have no idea what the hell they're supposed to do. So for cargo vans specifically, what type of coverage on their commercial policy are these owner operators supposed to have? And I'll let you have the floor for this question.
Yeah, I'm going to back it up, because when you're starting in logistics anyways, out the door, first thing you got to do is get your Secretary of State. Whatever state you're in, you start there, do your application, you pay the fee. And then the very second thing is the EIN, because that's the prerequisite for the DOT/MC. And it's DOT now, because I heard they're doing away with the MCs, but we'll see. That's TBD, to be determined. But it's DOT. So to get your DOT, you got to have the Secretary of State set up. You have to have your EIN. Those are two prerequisites for that. Then the DOT comes. You get someone to complete the application if you're not computer savvy to do it yourself, because it can be done by the individuals online. Then there is a 21-day holding period. Like, the FMCSA will sit on your MC for about 21 business days, which is equivalent to a business month. So you have that month to get compliance with the other things that you have to be compliant, which is called there is a thing called the United Carrier Registration. That's something that you have to process with the FMCSA compliance team. The BOC3, that's something that you will have to process with the compliance team. Now I know cargo vans are standard, they're not
non-commercial.
They're not, the gross vehicle weight isn't like a commercial vehicle. So a lot of people that are doing cargo don't have the CDL, but if you did have a CDL, you would have to get set up with a system within the it's called clearinghouse, If you are a CDL driver. If you're not, this doesn't apply to you. So for but you guys specialize, I'm assuming, cargo vans. See, I do it all. I do everything. I do livery. That's people transport. I do non-emergency transport, dump trucks, truck tractors, cargo vans, everything. So my specialty is everything. But for cargo vans, the liability, a lot of times cargo vans don't always require that 1 million because of the some of the contracts run. I've noticed 300K. Does anybody out there run on 300K? Or
that changed recently, by the way. It actually changed. Yeah.
So 300K, I know for cargo vans is the minimum, but working with brokers, trying to book loads with the brokers, they always want that 1 million coverage. So
gotcha.
We just skipped right over getting the 3, which I wish we probably could have because our policy would have been cheaper.
Same.
I have yet to find a broker that will take 300K.
That is
mine's
true.
$1 million.
That is true. So the $1 million is what the desire. I mean, you have the FMCSA may say, oh, you can have the minimum at 300, but your paycheck based on to get that paycheck, you got to have the 1 million. So that's another thing. Your filings have to be set at the they'll do the 750, and then companies will offer you the 1 million. That's the standard for that. The motor truck cargo coverage at 100K is the standard. If you're hauling like general freight, so that's a standard. And then some contracts, not all, require the general liability. Not everybody does, but some companies do. You have to have that general liability over your LLC or INC, your incorporation, before it depends. But the two mandatory coverages is the commercial auto liability and the motor truck cargo. And other than that, like just, get your limits. I have came across some $300,000 contracts. So customers run for 300. I don't get involved. If they tell me that's what they need, because in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if you're right, but okay, I'm gonna give it to you because this is what you're asking for. Those policies don't typically last though. They cancel early. So, but those are the two mandatory coverages for the cargo van.
Is what you were saying, the 1 million.
The commercial auto liability.
Yes.
Whatever your broker is telling you to have it, the combined single limits, and then the motor truck cargo. Those are the mandatory coverages. And then depending on what contract, it could be general liability, but it might not be. I don't know.
And like you said, sometimes it can be more, sometimes it could be less. It just depends on the company. But
it depends on the
75% of the time it's the same, but there'll be a few that will be slightly different.
Yeah.
That's why it's always safe to get like just standard 1 million and then 100,000 like cargo. It's just safe to do that, so you can get out with most companies.
That's what I recommend. Yeah, I recommend that.
It's just safe than sorry because you don't want to hinder yourself or hold yourself back from anything like that. And I mean, my agent, when we talked about it, because I have a great agent, he kind of said that you always want to set yourself up so that way you have all the opportunities you can get scaling your business up as an owner operator. But yeah, it sounds like you pretty much hit the nail on the head.
Well, that old saying, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So if you start out with what you need, then you will be ready for any contract. You're never going to scramble. You can slide right into the home plate.
Home plate. I love it.
Yeah.
Majority of the carrier. Go ahead, Liz.
I was going to say, what are factors that impact your insurance policy? Like your driving record, your MVR, obviously, age, your zip code, stuff like that. What are some other things that impact your policy?
Your CAB scores, your inspections are most important because underwriters will, when you're being quoted, the first thing they go to is the CAB scores, and they look at your inspections and they see they'll look at what you've done. Like if you're not keeping up with your ELD forms or whatever, they ding you on those things. And those things are recorded in the FMCSA like the SMS profile. And that's what underwriters use to rate your so you could have a great driving record, no accidents, no tickets, and been in the game for 20 years. But if your CAP scores are crappy, they're going to rate you accordingly. You're going to pay higher for your insurance than the average person that have good cab scores and don't have any, worn tires or threads showing on their tires. And so the upkeep of your vehicle is important because all of those things matter. All it takes is for you to get stopped by a state trooper one time and get that inspection, and it'll ruin, to mess you up for the next 3 years.
So that's not taken into account for sprinters, right? Because
Sprinter
we're not.
vans,
We're not.
I don't know. Do you guys get it? Do you get inspections on Sprinter vans?
No,
we're
commercial.
We're not federally regulated like that, so we don't have to go through weigh stations, inspections. We don't have to submit the safety audit.
No ELDs, none of that.
Yeah, no ELDs,
so in your
clearinghouse.
Okay, so in your case, it's your MVR violations. Accidents and violations is really going to be the underwriter's guide to underwrite your policy to see. And of course, the year, make, and model of the vehicle, the more safety features your vehicle have, the lesser, I ain't gonna say the lesser, because the higher the in year of insurance, of course, it costs more to insure a 2025 unit than it would be a 2018 unit, of course. But the safety features does matter. They do count. So all of these things, they're small little things like that can alter the premium. But yeah, that's the driving record is the heaviest part, I guess, when you're dealing with a cargo van, because when I quote cargo vans, I pull your MVR. That's like the thing I do, and I send it to the underwriter, and that's what they're looking at. So, but they do look at your FMCSA record. I know that to be for a fact. But if you're not getting the inspections like my over-the-road drivers, my over-the-road truckers, then it's going to be based on your year, make, and model of your unit, as well as the driving records.
Driving record, because mine actually it has decreased over time as the older my vehicle has gotten, my van has gotten, and you don't realize how much of the value decreases on your vans.
Oh yeah.
So I don't definitely suggest anyone coming in the industry to go buy a new one. Just get a reliable new used one, so
that is smart.
You can have a better premium, because if you go new, that premium is going to be sky high.
That's smart, right?
Well, it's more expensive in a lot of different ways. I mean, I'm just insurance. It's just generally going to be more money
getting a
up front.
$60,000 van too. Crazy.
God,
that's it.
So I heard this. I don't know if it's true or not, but does personal credit impact your policy, your premiums at all?
Not for all companies. I mean, like when I do a Progressive app or National General app, they might ask for the Social Security number, but I never key it in. And I'm told that with Progressive, if you have good credit, they might give you a little break. That's another factor that could lower your premium. But most people in this industry, I don't normally collect Social Security numbers because it's a little bit invasive, and a lot of people don't want to give it up. So I don't have any companies other than Progressive that will ask. National General has it. I bypass that question 100% of the time. So I'm not for sure if they would give a slight discount. I know Progressive, if you got good credit, your rate, you might be in another tier when the underwriter rates, when the system is rating your company, your premium. But for the most part, no, because my brokers, they're not asking for no credit or anything. They're looking at the SMS profile, your cab scores. They're looking at things of that nature, your driving record, the type of unit you have.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I was like, they pull personal credit for insurance? I was confused.
I guess mine would be terrible if that was the case. You're like, oh, your premium's $3,000. Like, damn.
I was like, dang, that's why mine went up.
Oh man, it's like credit is wild.
Yeah. For new people coming into the industry, and obviously they don't know anything about commercial insurance and whatnot, what are some things that they should be asking their agents and looking for? I know we went over that, just like the one 1 million and then the 100K cargo. But like, what are some questions that they should be asking their agents to make sure that they're getting the best policy, best service, and
Well,
all those
you
other
got to
things?
find out, like, you have to find out how experienced your agent, like, say, hey, do you specialize in transportation? Do you know, because an agent that don't know the lifeline of a trucker or any logistic business owner is the COI. That's a dangerous move to make because, so you want to make sure that the agent is knowledgeable about the industry. That's number one. Number two, you want to make sure that the agent have the markets. What markets, who do you quote with? That's a very important question, because if they can't give you but two companies, then you're going to pay what they offer you. It ain't no shopping it out and price comparing. So you want to make sure that they have the markets to offer you. So you want to ask, well, who do you write? What are some of the companies that you quote with? And because I'm going to tell you something, even though I say this is a large industry, it's a small industry as far as the agent network. All of us agents, we write with the same companies. So you don't need to go to 6 different agents and get quotes from everybody. You just need to get with one good agent that's going to quote your account out and be thorough with it. They're going to quote it out accurate, and make sure that they truly shop your account out. So it's important to find out the experience level of transportation your agent have versus the accounts that they have access, like the carriers that they have access to. That's super important. Because most of us, we all do the same thing. Transportation agents, we do the same thing. My agency name is Finch Transportation Insurance LLC. So I made sure to put that in there so that people know when you reach out to me, I am Finch Transportation Insurance. So it's no question of what type of agent I am, but some agents have their last name, like Jones and Jones. You don't know what you get.
Jones and Jones.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I'm trying to think what else. I've learned quite a lot. Just now within like an hour. You really are knowledgeable. Everybody give it up for Jennifer. Love it. Okay. Well, if any of you guys, let's do a Q&A for the next, I would say a good 15, 20 minutes. If you guys have any questions for Jennifer while she's up here, please drop it in the comments section and she'll be more than happy to answer it. Next 15, 20 minutes. If you guys have any questions on commercial insurance that we have not asked, we have not covered, please drop it in the comment section down below. Jennifer, can you do insurance for North Carolina? That is funny because I'll let you answer this, Jennifer.
Yeah, I have access. Now, I will say I am a North Carolina agent. I'm a North Carolina girl. I love it here. But
that was the answer to that. Yep.
Yeah, but I do write in other states. But I am limited to my markets in other states. So that's where I'm a little bit handicapped. So you just have to reach out to me, and I will be more than happy to talk with you, find out the state you're in, and then I'll see what markets I have access to in those states. Because, it ain't going to kill you. Quotes are free. They're non-obligational. To quote you in, even if I have 2 markets, say I have 2 markets in Virginia, I'll quote you with the 2 markers and let you know what it is. And then it's your choice, to whether to call around. And, I have a counterpart in Georgia that I constantly, I'll send stuff to, because Geico. Geico doesn't write commercial in North Carolina anymore, but they write it in other states. And I have a counterpart with. Yeah. And it's a good market, very good pricing, because Georgia, the rates are insane down there. Insane.
They are great.
And Geico offered this customer, I called my counterpart. I had a customer in Georgia, so I had to give them up, because if I can't help you, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to make sure you have what you need. And if I'm not the one that help you, because time is money for me as well. So I'll send you somewhere, I have a counterpart in South Carolina as well as in Georgia. So, but I do write in other states. You just have to reach out to me so that I could do my homework and look it up to say, Maryland, who do I write with in Maryland? And then we go from there.
K-Book, definitely reach out to her page because you said you need her. definitely give her a DM on this page, and y'all can just chop it up after the TikTok. So just
do you prefer people reach out to you through TikTok, or do you have an email?
Yeah, I have an email. Well, I have a phone number. Can I give a phone number out here?
Yes.
Yeah. And then we can drop in the comment section.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because my phone is okay. So let me see. I can type my phone number in, but my phone number is 919.
I'll go ahead and let her up, actually.
Okay, thank you. 919-931-7906. And that's my work cell. And you just call me, and if you get my voicemail, because I'm a one-woman show right now, but as I grow, God has been good to me this year, so I'm growing.
Yeah.
So you will always get a call back. I'm big on calling people back. So for sure, give me a call and we'll get together and I can do an intake. And like I said, it's free and non-obligational. It won't hurt you to just get some more knowledge and to see where you stand. Because I'll look at everything and tell you what's up.
Is that number correct? 919-931-7906.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's I just spaced it out because TikTok is weird.
I was looking at that. I was like, it's good enough.
Yeah, TikTok gets weird about numbers in the chat. It'll delete my comment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does that. That's true. Okay. I let Quick up here because she is they're a reoccurring guest. They've been a special guest of mine up here. They're been up here for a while, so I think since they're they've been veterans fans, I was like they have the privilege to come up here in the panel. So they have a couple questions for you. So go ahead and ask away, Quick.
Hi, good evening, everybody. How are you?
Quick.
Wonderful.
Hello.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Hello. Hi.
Hi there. Hey, I have a couple of questions. So I have an agent. We've been a carrier for 4 years, but I seem to have to reiterate this kind of information to people, and I'm sure it's different for everybody. I always tell people to check with your agent because sometimes I'm actually honestly not clear on it myself.
Okay.
However, so my question is for carriers, owner-operators, same thing, who are hired privately, meaning that it's either a shipper in transportation terms or the actual client that owns the warehouse or owns the business calls us and wants us to make a delivery. And we may not have a vehicle available, but I'm able to call either, let's say, a friend, a family member, or something like that who has an SUV. I'm hiring them as a contractor for that particular load or delivery. Can you explain how they are covered under my insurance because they're working for me?
Okay.
And this isn't MC or DOT related. They are working to cover a delivery that I've been hired.
So you're not you don't have an MC or DOT is what you're telling me.
I do. I'm saying that who's calling me to ask me to make the delivery is not a brokerage. It is like a client, like a company, like say it's a pharmacy.
Okay.
Calls and says we need a pickup, some type of cancer medication delivered to someone 20 miles away. Do you have a courier available?
Okay.
And I have my mom take it.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I will tell you that anyone doing any deliveries under your business name on your behalf, on behalf of your LLC or incorporated business, they if their unit that they're using isn't listed under your policy, then if they have an accident, that's not gonna affect your insurance because their unit isn't insured by your business. Typically, when people are contracting and working for logistic business owners, if they're running under their MC number, like they're doing deliveries under that particular MC number, the legal way, I have customers that do it
This is non-MC. This non-MC related.
Well, what I'm saying is, legally, they're not going to be listed on your policy. Unless you add that unit to. If they have an accident and you're basically paying them. I don't know if you're paying them under the table, but it's not a
no. No, it would be paid. It would be paid. Like, okay,
but it's not
simpler. Okay,
but it's not what you're saying is, if they have an accident, there's no way to get them covered under your umbrella of your insurance. There's no way if you're not adding them to the policy. Their insurance would be applicable if something happens. Now, cargo, I do know cargo is a VIN specific policy. Those policies are VIN specific. So if there is ever an accident and some cargo gets damaged, the first thing the cargo adjuster is going to do is they're going to look at the VIN numbers of the units under the policy. If that VIN number isn't under that particular policy, whatever was in that vehicle would not be covered. And that's fact.
Okay, so if they're using one of my vehicles, would that change?
Yeah, that changes. Then they straight. It's just another driver driving your vehicle. It's totally fine. You have another contractor or employee, so that's fine as long as the vehicle is under your policy. So you can, and listen, you can allow people to, like, hey, you got an SUV, can you run this over to such and such for me, especially if it's on a private level. But if anything happens, it's going to be under their insurance. But if anything happens to the load, you got to be meticulous about that, because if you're giving your product or product belonging to the company that you're contracting for, you're putting it in somebody else's vehicle. If anything happens to it, there will be no coverage, because cargo is a VIN specific policy.
Okay. Cargo is VIN specific. Okay. So
yes,
that's okay. That was the question that I was asking. Okay. So next.
Is there any way to have like a temporary, because sometimes like a broker will be like, hey, this load needs, $2 million coverage, and you can call and get that temporary coverage specifically for the load. So in her instance, is there any way to get temporary cargo coverage for the vehicle that's not on her policy? Like if her mom was driving it in her SUV and she needed temporary cargo coverage for that, is there a way to do that?
There's no such thing as temporary cargo coverage. These policies are an annual policy. Now, I just had a customer that had secured a contract. This was last week, and he already has 100K cargo, but the company asked him to increase his cargo to 250. And I asked him, like, how long you going to run it? He was like, as long as I can make money with it. Contract, I don't know what happened, but he just called me yesterday saying drop my coverages back down to 100. So that's something that could be applicable. Like if you have the policy already and you need something special, like they're saying, oh, this is an expensive load of stuff. We need you to add more. Like we need more than a standard 100K for the cargo. We need to increase it. You can increase it on your policy, but it's not temporary, but you just increase it for the load you need it for during the time frame you need it, and then come back a day or two later and just send your agent in writing, please break my cover, bring it back down to 100. Then that way you are prorating it yourself. But the companies don't offer prorated policies like that for, like, you got load for 3 days. They ain't offering any temporary anything. You got to either get the policy and have it for the year, or get the policy and cancel it when you need to cancel it.
Right.
Okay.
So that's like an alternative, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you walk?
That's the only way you going. If you gotta play Russian roulette with the numbers, like you know what I'm saying. And I understand you guys not wanting to pay a year worth of 250 when you don't need it, but for 3 days, that's totally understandable. Because like I said, I just had to cancel something like that yesterday, so it's understand and it's doable. And it's legal, and you can do it.
Okay. Would you be able to walk us through how this would work if a client called me, needed me to pick up in 3 different locations? In all 3 locations, there's one for Brian, there's one for Brave, and there's one for Mike in all 3 states. And I need to hire them to get that load delivered. How do I hire them, and what's the protocol for the insurance?
Are you putting them in your vehicles, or you're having them to run their
own vehicles?
Their own vehicles.
They're running their own vehicles. Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be running under your MC?
It's not an MC related. It's not MC related. It's not from a brokerage. It's from a private client.
It's the same answer I gave you before. You can't. There's no way if their vehicle, right? They're using their own unit. They're not gonna. If you're not putting that unit on your policy,
would they be able to be a certificate holder?
No, because no. It's not illegal. I'm not gonna say it's illegal, but you riding dirty when you do stuff like this. This is dirty riding. You can't just have your cousin say, hey, take this load over there, because here's the thing. If his vehicle isn't listed on your policy and there is an accident where that cargo gets jostled up or damaged in any ways, then there's going to be a coverage problem because that unit is not listed on the cargo policy. Now, if they got auto insurance, then if they have an accident, it's on them. That's fine. But the cargo,
but they're companies. All three of them are actual companies.
It's still the same. Their company insurance would cover their unit. Their company insurance would cover their unit. But if their unit isn't on that, their liability will any accident there, as long as they got active insurance, they can drive from here to California doing all the loads, and it's totally fine. But what would be the main concern in a situation like that would be that cargo. So if they have an accident, they covered because they got insurance, so they straight. But if they have an accident that damages the cargo is under you. It's your LLC agreed with the broker to transport this product from A to B. And if anything happens from A to B, they expect for your cargo coverage to cover it. Your cargo coverage ain't going to cover it if these units are not listed on the policy.
Okay, so there was a broker that made a video like a while ago. So you know how these carrier companies, they lease on drivers, but they don't provide the insurance or whatever the case is. So let's say I lease onto a carrier company, right? All they're doing is dispatching me and providing me loads, but I pay my own insurance policy and everything, but I'm running the loads under their authority. So in that instance, I know that the cargo wouldn't be covered because it's in my van under my insurance, but it's under their MC. So I understand that part. But the broker, she pulled up, I don't know if you're familiar with Fox Carriers. Are you familiar with them?
Say that word again. Say it again.
Are you familiar with Fox Carriers?
Fox Carrier. No, ma'am. It doesn't ring any bells right now.
So they're like a really, really big carrier company that leases on owner-operators with their own authorities, and then they kind of, in a way, like I guess, double broker out loads.
Okay.
But the broker that made the video, she was talking about insurance, and she pulled up Fox Carrier's insurance some way, somehow, and they had 1 million VIN numbers listed on their insurance for their cargo policy. Are they able to do that? Like, what's the loophole there? Because let's say I contract with Quick for these loads that she's talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that VIN number couldn't be associated with two different policies if you're both a carrier.
Now, I don't know how big. It sounds like Fox is a really big business. It's a large corporation. Am I right? Or it's not small?
They're a really big carrier company.
Yeah. So it makes sense that they have a lot of units that's under their policy. It would make sense if they.
But they're not their units. So Fox Carriers, what they do is so I'm an owner operator. I have my own company.
They lease on to their authority. Yes.
Yeah. So I would lease on to them, but they're not putting me on their insurance policy. All I'm doing is adding them as a certificate, as an additional insured on my COI, and that's about it. They give me loads to run under their authority, but it's in my van under my insurance.
Well, I will say this, and I'm gonna give you the legal way, and then I can't attest for anybody. I know people that do it another way.
Okay.
The legal way, when you're leasing under someone's authority, you have to go under their insurance. I mean, that's what the FMCSA says. Those are the rules. It's state law, federal law. You're supposed to be on their insurance. Not everybody does this. And
Right.
I turn my eye when customers want to do it their way. I tell them the right way. But if this is how you want to do it, run it. If you don't get caught, then you save a whole lot of money. I can tell you that. But technically, legally, you are supposed to have you're supposed to add their unit to your policy. That unit goes under their motor carrier authority. So,
Right.
and that's just that. And that way, their commercial auto liability and the cargo. Those are the two policies that you're added to when you lease when you're leased onto people's authority. That's the legal way to do it. If you want to be by the book and clean as a whistle, that is how you're supposed to do it. But I do know customers that will give their cousin that owns a trucking job, give them loads under them, and they run loads and they split the profit. Like, I know customers that do that, but that's not the legal way to do it. The legal way to do it is if you're leasing under someone's authority and you're running loads in the name of that business, of that MC number that you're supposed to be under their commercial auto liability and the cargo.
Okay.
And the only reason the cargo is because it's VIN specific. That's the only reason. Yeah.
So there's no way, like, for Quick's question, there's no way, like, okay, say she gives me a load. There's no way for my VIN number to be listed on her policy. Like, my VIN can't have two policies associated with it, correct?
Well, not necessarily, because I do have some customers that they set up their authority. They have their authority set up. And like in the beginning, when your authority is new and you can't really get loads, they they go for the minimum, right? And they keep their authority on. So they do have their policy with the state filings as well as federal filings, because they're trying to get that 6-month experience on that MC. But then they work for someone else. They run loads for another company. And so you definitely can do that. You can. And I know people that do it. And I've never ran into any issues for any customers that do it. Technically, yeah, there is a rule, like you're only supposed to have one auto liability. But in this industry, it's a little bit different, because people do that. They do it to mature, like allow their MC to mature so that they can get loads on their own, or they'll do it because they getting a great contract and they need the help and they can make the extra money. But then in their spare time, they'll run their own, like if they have the coverage, the coverage is increased to the $1 million that they need for any contract. They'll run it on run their contract as well. So it just depends. But you can have your unit under more than one policy. It happens. You can totally do it. Yeah.
Okay, so in order to achieve what Quick is asking, then she would have to essentially put, like, whoever she's contracting, she would have to put them under her policy to ensure that the cargo is actually covered.
I would recommend. I mean, if she's been doing it this way and getting away, who am I to tell her anything? But legally, if anything goes down, the auto liability, if they have insurance, and they're willing to do the load and they're willing to take on the risk, like if anything happens and they eat that, that's okay. You save. But the cargo, the cargo is most important, because if anything happens while they have your load in their unit, then you and your cargo, if there is a cargo claim, they're not going to pay it because that unit is not on that cargo policy.
Okay.
So we got a question up here. It says, "What if you use?" I think I don't know if we already answered this one. It says, "What if you're using their insurance, the company you're working on?" I think you did answer that already.
Yeah, if you're under their insurance.
Yeah. Okay. She did. I was just trying to look through the comments. Okay, so I'm pretty much caught up with that. Any more questions, guys? We're gonna close out in the next 5 minutes. Any more questions you have for Jennifer? Anybody?
Sorry to hijack your question, Quick, but because I had seen that, and I was wondering, because the broker pulled up Fox Carrier's insurance policy and they had a bunch of VIN numbers listed, and I was like, how are they doing that? how are they listing other people's VIN numbers if they have owner operators out here paying their own insurance policies? And I thought that one vehicle couldn't be associated with two different insurance policies.
It's just going unchecked. That's all. It's going unchecked. That's how they're getting away with it.
And I'm telling you, I know a lot of people that do that. Like, listen, as an agent, I'm a very relaxed agent. I'm gonna tell you what it is, because what we like to do is fly below the radar. Anything that can save us money and fly below the radar, that's what we love. So I know people that have been doing that for years, been getting loads from other companies because the money is there. Because in this industry, honey, you got to get in where you fit in. I mean, I'm sorry to say that. And now with the FMCSA tightening the vice with everything, you literally have to get in where you fit in. And that is just what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Because otherwise you're going to get hit in the head hard with premium.
Yep.
Right. How do the the companies who deal with the gig apps, so to speak, when they hire a gig app company that does not have vehicles, and then they just hire a regular courier, that's not any type. That's not DOT or MC related. That is just they are hiring a 1099 contractor.
Mm-hmm.
We're not on their insurance. How does that work with the when those companies hire out? When what are they called, Mike?
Like Roadie or
like Roadie, like a crowdsourcing type of company that hires out multiple contractors to make deliveries for them.
Oh, like a final mile?
Not adding us.
You talking about a final mile, last mile? Because I know one rail is like the main.
It's like Curry. So Curry, you know how we're carriers on that platform,
Yeah.
and then we accept the delivery for them, and we go make the delivery, but we're under our own insurance policy.
Now that you got me on, I don't even know what gig I don't know.
All right, so I'll simplify this for you. A gig app is like the part-time job to the full-time job, which is the couriers and the carriers and the brokers. If you need a part-time job, you need some extra supplementation, you go to the gig apps. That's what
you mean, like Amazon when they deliver the packages?
Like Amazon Flex or
Relay.
Amazon Flex, Roadie, Freight.
No,
Spark.
not Relay. Not Relay.
No,
it's like you know what Instacart is? Do you know what Instacart is?
DoorDash.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so like that.
Those are gigs.
But
yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so like it's Instacart, but for like freight. So in that sense, because Curry is one of those apps, but Curry is also a broker. So like I'm signed up with Curry as a carrier, so I can haul freight. My DOT and MC, they have all that stuff, and they can broker out loads to me in a sense. But it's through like a gig app. So they just post it, and it's like a free for all.
Yeah, okay, I got you. So I do know that I write the big boys, so I don't handle any small accounts of that nature. But I do know that there is a prerequisite for those people using their own vehicles to do those deliveries. And I do know that you have to there's some stipulations to the coverages you have to have. And you have to provide the certificate of insurance and proof of liability insurance to show that you have the limits that they want you to have. Because you can't just do those. You have to have special limits for those. And it could be 100, 300. It could be 300K combined single limits. I don't really know because I don't write those accounts. But those accounts do have special insurance requirements because everybody has their own insurance. So it's a contract you enter or something you sign off on. But I'm not familiar with that. I apologize. I handle the actual logistic business owner businesses.
No, I get it. Yeah, carriers and like load boards and like I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, most gig apps don't require commercial, which is crazy, except like Curry. Like Curry's the one I would say requires like that commercial, I would say. Like if you're getting on the carrier profile, but if you're just a gig worker, it doesn't require like airspace, dispatch it. Like they don't really, you can get on personal insurance through gig, like, just gig apps.
I kind of just think at that point, if you're working a gig app and an accident happens, they just put all the liability on you.
Oh
yeah, they do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you gonna eat that.
Yeah, they'll just shove it all on you, and they wipe their hands with it.
Yeah, Cheddar.
Yeah, that's what
like
I was saying.
Said.
I was saying that. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, how do they get away with that? Because that's still cargo.
Yeah,
that's still cargo.
So I think that's what it is. Because now that you mention it, when we are doing these gig apps and we're carrying for these, the apps and stuff, it's under our insurance. But to Jennifer's point, we're not insuring that cargo. So if something were to happen, we would have to eat it.
Okay. Well, you all taught me something. so thank you.
Yeah. I mean, the gig world's a whole nother niche in logistics. Like logistics is it's a huge, broad spectrum. I mean, I was talking to somebody about that today. It's not just a black and white, industry. There's a lot to it, a lot more than what you think. So it's, gigs, that's just one lane you can get into. Gig safe. That's what airspace uses, Cheddar, to
gig safe
onboard. They didn't. They don't require. I mean, I would say, I don't think they do require commercial because it's more medical most of the time. It's medical stuff.
Yeah, gig safe is just the onboarding process where it's just verifying credentials and things like that and making sure you're in compliance. But it
commercial wise,
it manages your insurance. It makes sure that you have coverage to cover things to if something happens to it while you're in transit, that your insurance are covered.
Oh yeah. If you have insurance in general.
I'm trying to right. So I was just trying to figure out how do those companies hire you? Yeah, as a contractor, and they don't have to put you on their insurance policies because that was the question. Why do they get to not be able? So why do I have to put Brave under my insurance policy if a client hires me to have something delivered out in California? So it's like, why do I have to have her on why can't she be hired on like a gig worker to pick that up?
There's probably some.
Those are the loopholes that I'm asking about. How do the loopholes happen? How? Correct. I'm a company.
You're asking the right questions. We got to.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, it is.
I'm like, what's the loophole for me so I don't have to put her on my insurance? How can I hire her like a gig app hires me? That's what I'm saying.
I'm laughing. Okay. I'm like, I'm trying to be like Rhodey, damn it. Trying to be like,
right? We're trying to make our own Rhodey right here, right now. Okay, with Miss Jennifer. Like that's what we're trying to do.
Miss Jennifer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, thank you though for answering the questions. Thank you.
No problem. I thank you guys for inviting me tonight. It's been wonderful.
Absolutely.
I love to share whatever knowledge I have. So anytime you can invite me back, I wouldn't mind coming back. I appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess since it's pretty much around that time to close out, thank you for coming up here. We got to 12,000 likes. We got a good bit of viewers in here. Like I said, Jennifer, thank you for covering so many topics of insurance. You covered a good bit.
No problem.
Thank you, viewers, for coming in here.
Very informative.
Yeah, very informative. Like Brave just said, we definitely learned quite a bit today.
Good.
So we would definitely love to have you back here as a special guest for sure, or maybe even come up on open mic. You're more than welcome to. So yeah, I would love to have you back. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to CargoCast podcast. Next week will be open mic. If you guys want to come up, you got to have at least 6 months of experience in the industry to qualify to come up on the panel. So that'll be next week, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then after that, we will be off until July, because we do run 3 Fridays out of the month each month, Friday 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, guys, thank you for the support. Thank you for tuning in, and y'all have a blessed weekend.
Quick question.
What's
Jennifer, do you have markets in California?
I can check into that. Did you get my phone number?
Yes, I have it right here.
Save it and then touch bases with me on Monday, and I will check the Cali area to see if I have any markets out there. Okay.
Okay. Sounds
for sure.
good.
And you're a cargo van, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I can check for you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Sweet, guys. You have a blessed weekend.